Hi, and welcome to Bouldersaurus. There was no new set last week since our head setter took a well-deserved break, but he's back this week with an awesome set of boulders. I have 10 boulders to show off, ranging from V3 to V9, and some lessons about dynamic moves and toe hooking. This set certainly put up a fight, and I hope you enjoy watching me overcoming these challenges. Enjoy. The name for this boulder is a little bit misleading, as it wasn't easy. The holds just look like the crisscross pattern on the top of a pie. So, what made this climb challenging? The start of the climb was easy enough with these moves under the roof section. The main challenge is getting out of the roof. The handholds aren't necessarily bad here, it's just the foothold you're using is quite low and sloped, so you really have to be mindful of your body position when throwing for the large block hold. I initially tried to get my feet up here before matching, but I found doing so while hanging was a lot easier. The footholds at the top of this climb are a little bit sketchy and makes moving through these pinches a little tough. I ignore the second to last hold and instead match on this pinch to get into position to press to the finish. The facing wall is overhung, making this position tough to hold, though it doesn't look like it here. Upon reviewing this video, I made some observations about this jump, which led to my success. The first is my left leg, which I used to generate momentum, as seen here. In the slower version, look how close I keep my body to the wall. This ensures my center of gravity isn't too far back when I hit the hold. Finally, watch my right leg. I use it to stop my momentum so I don't have to waste energy swinging once I hit the hold. All of this is subconscious when climbing, but it's good to know what movements contribute to a successful move. This next climb is sort of the classic climb of my gym. Powerful moves on pinches with some really satisfying footwork. Even though I still struggle on climbs like this, my gym has made me much more confident moving through pinches. This has a low hand-heel start, moving into a good pinch around the arete. I have to cut feet for this next move, but the hold is good enough to hold the swing. The next three holds are where things get challenging. This hold out left is thicker than the others, and these two pinches close together are very hard to hold on to. Luckily, if you can make it past them to this jug, you're basically done. The last few moves are more of a formality and present a fun little finish to this well-set climb. This climb was set by a route setter who doesn't normally set at our gym, and it was really funny to see how it threw folks off. First of all, that cluster of holds at the start is very uncharacteristic for a gym, and many people read too much into it. The start move has a smear and a toe hook that requires some unique tension to move through. Other than that, the rest of the climb is quite easy. Yes, there are no footholds, so you must smear, but the holds are good enough and the angle's good enough that this makes it no big deal. The end is tricky if you're not careful and requires a heel hook out left to avoid slipping off this sloped final hold. This is one of those weird climbs where I got it quickly, and then I couldn't do the first move again, as you can see in this compilation. It goes against logic, but sometimes the more you do a climb, the worse you do. Oh well, this climb was fun, but I just got new shoes and prefer to keep them without holes in the toes for more than a few months. Wish I could have gotten that second angle though. Alright, it is time to spot where I broke the beta on this next climb. I did something that wasn't intended that allowed me to skip part of the climb, so see if you can identify it. Good luck! This one was probably pretty easy to see. Using my hip flexibility, I was able to get a high foot here and rock over to this pinch. Normally I don't try to break the beta, I really like climbing things as intended, but this is just what my body did on its first attempt, and it stuck with me, so I decided to keep it. This climb gets my vote for the most misleading climb. Not just in its beta, but in its appearance. It just looks so easy. The holds look big, some of them are even straight up jugs. I hopped on this climb to warm up and quickly realized I was in over my head, especially when I was literally upside down. You probably saw this climb in my Boulder Bites episode, and it starts with some feet first toe hooking to move through these wedge-shaped holds. I'd say the crux is going back to being right side up, as catching this hold, it's not really in the best position for your hands to hang on. It's not done though. I'd argue the second half of this climb is even harder, but I can't really explain why. The holds, first off, are so much worse than they appear. They have this slight slope to them and not a lot of friction that it just requires a ton of tension to hold them. With so many of them in a row, it really takes a lot of shoulder strength and it's super easy to get pumped out on this climb. It's a super cool climb and I really enjoyed watching people hop on it not expecting much, only to be bamboozled by the start. In contrast, this climb was a lot easier than it first appeared. These black slopers are usually a nightmare since they're so slopey and very hard to hold on to. Luckily, this climb had little jibs screwed into them to make them easier to hold. Without them, this climb could have easily been a few grades harder. I liked how compact this climb was. It felt short, but it had a lot of substance as you moved through this corner and traversed to this finish hold. No jibs on the finish hold though, you just had to use a lot of body tension to hold the final position. A few subscribers mentioned they enjoyed seeing some of the lower grade climbs, and I thought this one not only was a great boulder, but also an aesthetic one. Some people couldn't care less about the aesthetics of a boulder, but I put a lot of value into it. With similar hold shapes all moving up in a similar direction, this climb just looked cool and felt cool to climb. The pinch on the top, while large, is wider and slopier than you want it and presents a fun challenge before moving to the top jug. There are two V9s and a V10 climb on this set, and this white one is one that I think is doable for me. When I'm climbing at my limit, I try each move individually and try to link them together. The start of this climb is hard for me, as there's not much room to swing on this move. This next part is easy in isolation, but it's really easy to grip the holds wrong because they're not regularly shaped. Once I get this move up to this right hand crimp, I typically can do the rest, but it'll be hard after doing all those start moves. I was tired when I recorded this, so I hopped off, but hopefully I can show this climb completed soon. I looked at this climb and thought it was going to be an easy flash, but boy was the footwork a lot more particular than I thought. If you look at the crimps at the start, they're all facing the same direction, which means gravity is constantly trying to swing you to the left. This is called a barn door and happens when you don't have a method to control your swing. All through the opening moves of this climb, you're fighting against a left swinging force. Putting a hand on the volume helps to control it, as does stepping your feet out. It's super easy to fall off here, but luckily, once you reach up to this crimp on the second volume, the rest of the climb, in my opinion, was a lot easier. I always like when climbs in my style punish me for being overconfident. There's a finish hold on this last volume, you can't really see it, but it's there. It exists. It's having a good time. And with this last crimpy, bad-footed V4, we will wrap up this video. The boulders opened later than usual, and a lot more folks were climbing than I'm used to, so I got a little bit shy about pointing a phone at a wall and slowly panning upward on a blank boulder. I always think I look weird when I do that. Oh well. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Your comments make my day, and I love hearing what your thoughts are. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and you might even see a different gym next week. Stick around to find out. But for now, that's all for me. Have a good one.